Good morning, guys. Our group will summarize and analyze Chapter 5 of the Republic of Wine. Chapter 5 is divided into 4 parts in total. Let's start off by Part 1. In Part 1, the story relies on the life of the main characters named Ding Guo-er, who is the investigator and has been sent to Liquid Land in order to look into the claims of cannibalism. Specifically in this part stated the situations when Ding Guo-er tried to kiss Lady Tucker but forces her. From his experience, he thinks that all women are the same and willing to be a kitten in his arm. However, she is different from others. She refused to kiss him. She tricked him to put the tongue in her mouth and then she bit it, giving a lot of pain to Ding Guo-er. And this was his first tragic failure in woman. The lady would let him touch her and commanded him to pour the water into the radiation. They both went back on the cab. The night air and bright lights of Liquid Land giving Ding Guo-er a feeling of loneliness. He rests on the pad cushions of Lady Tucker's sofa. Everything that had occurred after his tongue was bitten was like a dream. He finished the glass of wine and let himself sink into the sweet reveries. After Lady Tucker finished showering, she came out on a bathrobe. She revealed her body and take off all her clothes, but Ding Guo-er is only allowed to look but no action at all. She picked up his pistol, loaded it and aimed at his head. First arriving at Liquid Land, Ding Guo-er has been stuck in rebellion, confused and paranoid. Therefore he decided to throwing himself on her and biting her nipples. Suddenly she surrendered to him, dropped down the gun, opened her legs wide. She asked him does he think she is ugly and is that why he was so blessed. Then he replied he was afraid of being bitten. The Lady Tucker just want to test Ding Guo-er and finally he wins her. Then she told him he is a coward and that she is willing to masturbate. That's make Ding Guo-er attack her from the back and they end up having sex. During having sex, he was captured by the photograph from every angle taken by Diamond Jean, the Lady Tucker husband, as he was raping his wife and there is a solid evidence. While having a conversation, Diamond Jean offered him a liquor. He drinks it to the every last drop. Then he ends up crashed heavily on the floor. For the analysis in this part of the story, Ding Guo-er is caught in a downward spiral from which he could not free himself from the wine and women handed to him by the official government. Wine and women are the metaphor for money and power, which leads to the corruption. When Diamond Jean offered Ding Guo-er a drink, he accepted it. After drinking it, he lost all sense of reality. He lost his track and could never get back on it. Likewise, in Chinese society, where the official government offer money and power to get rid of crimes and corruption.
In Part 2, Li Yidu wrote a letter to Mo Yan since he haven't heard about him for a long time, so he thought that Mo Yan may be upset about him because of the previous letter that he wrote, so he promised to pay attention to Mo Yan's word and never to agree with him again. Also in the letter, Yidu will delete the Dish Dragon and the Phoenix Lucky together from the Donkey Avenue story, which he thought that it might link to the bourgeois liberalizations. Moreover, he met Yishi and mentioned Mo Yan to him. However, Yishi's thoughts and word on Mo Yan is quite bad, more like a sarcasms, but Yishi said that it was a compliment. Another thing, Yidu and Mo Yan want to write a biography about Yishi since he is a truly uncommon draft who want to get with all the beautiful women in the Liquid Land. And if Mo Yan promised to come to Liquid Land and write his biography, then he would do whatever necessary to make him happy. Plus, Yidu have already written a story about Yishi, so he will send a copy to Mo Yan and stir up his enthusiasms. Part 3, Mo Yan has replied to Li Yidu by saying that all of his story and letter has arrived safely, and Mo Yan said that he's not mad about the previous letter, so there is no need to be worried about or fear about. And about the Dragon Phoenix Lucky together, there is no need to remove it from the Donkey Avenue, since it cannot possibly be attacked for having a bourgeois liberalization tendencies. Also, there is no need to remove it from the Yishi travel menu as well. Moreover, Moyan said that if he visit Liquorland someday, he would try the menu out. Further, Moyan is getting interest about Yishi character and willing to write his biography, and if Yishi want to pay him a lot, he will accept it. And even if Yishi doesn't want to pay it, it's okay as well, since he looking for the experience instead of the money. For the Yishi, the hero, the story that Yidu wrote, Moyan doesn't want to compliment much, since he and Yidu have different experience and perspective on writing the fictions. And the last thing, Moyan want Yidu to send him a copy of the strange events in the Liquorland, then he will pay back the copying cost. For the characters in part 2 and 3, there are 3 main characters, which are Moyan, Li Yidu, and Yu Yishi. So Moyan is one of the great young writer whose Yidu respect a lot, and Li Yidu is aspiring writer who keeps writing to Moyan about his short story that he wants to get published. And Yu Yishi is the draft hoteler who owns a tavern on a Donkey Avenue.
Part 4 is the text from Ichi the hero. The story first starts with the greeting from Ichi. As Ito sat down facing Ichi, Ichi starts blaming him for teaming up with Moyan and constantly criticizes both. At the end, he agrees to help them writing the book by sharing his stories, but at the same time warned that all the interviews are 90% full of lies and fabrication, that Ito would need to find out truth that are lying behind all those lies and fabrications. He begins the story by bringing up the famous rumor of a boy who goes up and down the Donkey Avenue as fast as a horse on moonlights, which he claims that the boy was himself. Ito didn't believe him at first, then he saw Ichi turning himself into a lizard and crawling up and down walls and ceiling. Later stories can be divided into 3. First, what happened in a tavern on Donkey Avenue. Second, his story on how he had a lovesick of a beautiful acrobat when he was young. And last, the original story from unknown author, which Ito thinks Ichi transformed into a different version. The first story was about a 12-year-old boy who worked in a tavern on Donkey Avenue, where the owner later found out that the boy has liquor moth, which will eternally replenish the liquor vat and better tasting liquor each time. The owner wanted to take this liquor moth from the boy, where he did, by making the boy starve for 7 days. Ichi claimed that, again, the boy in the story was himself, saying that he could have been the god of wine if he still had the liquor moth, where people like Diamond Jin with liquor tapeworms can only be a wine demon, which also emphasized his later claim that all people have fate, and they will follow their fate no matter what experience they have. However, later Ichi changes his word that those were all lies. 2 stories introduced afterwards share the similar storyline of a boy falling in love with a beautiful performer, that he had lovesickness that made him can't eat for days, and that he met the girl after a long journey. However, there are some differences in the details of the stories. The story Ichi told to Ito was more romanticized and in a way also dramatized, compared to the popular story written by an unknown author, which has more realistic details to it. The major difference is on the fact that Ichi's story ends with a boy finding the girl, where the other story gives a little more extended situations that one of the part illustrated a midday meal, where a perfectly lifelike looking baby boy was served. Ito got the idea that the unknown author of the popular story is Ichi. This was significant in the sense that the cases in the story included eating infant boys and drinking ape liquor, which Ito associated with the mystery of Liquorland that they were investigating. Later, Ito accused Ichi that his stories are all mixed with truth and untruth, that no one would know what life he really had. Then Ichi responded by laying out his achievements through his lifetime with high pride. What can be found out, especially on the comparison between the two love stories, is that Ichi clearly wants to be seen as a successful person with a perfect life by adding little fabrications to his stories. But his stories published as an unknown author seems to tell what is much closer to the truth.